Let me ask you a question that'll punch you straight in the gut. If you sold your business tomorrow, would you even know how much money you need to live the life that you actually want? Or are you just grinding away with no damn exit plan? What happens if you sell your business tomorrow and that annual revenue that you're continuously getting today is no longer there? Are you planned? Are you prepared to actually know how much money you need if and when it's time to exit? I'm gonna tell you exactly how you can create your exact number and wealth goal so that you can make sure that if and when you do decide to exit, you're ready to live the life of your dreams. And we're gonna get into it right now on the show in 3, in 2, in 1. Welcome to the show, everybody. And today we're going to talk about one of the most powerful and one of the most ignored truths in business, and that's planning your exit. Okay, I'm gonna basically break down to you today why knowing your wealth goal, it's an actual dollar amount, your valuation, and your post-exit life plan is truly what separates the broke business owners from the true wealth builders. Because listen, if you don't plan your exit, someone else will plan it for you, and you probably won't like their plan. But before we get into it, guys, make sure that you smash the like button. Make sure that you subscribe to this channel. We're talking all things business, entrepreneurship, scaling, exiting, valuation of your business. If you are a business owner, you're not going to want to miss this show. And we have a new show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And also something that you're going to like is this wealth goal that we're going to talk about. I've got an actual wealth goal and wealth gap calculator. Right down in the description, there's a link. It's a free lead magnet for you to go ahead and take a look at it so you can actually yourself calculate your wealth goal to see what that dollar amount is based on the valuation of your business, based on the life that you want to live and the dreams that you have after you no longer have that business, and also based on your net worth. So go ahead and click in the description. There is a link for your calculator for you to figure out exactly what your wealth goal is. And let's get right into exactly how you do that. So here we go. All right, so here's the big idea. Your business is not your destiny, believe it or not. It's actually your vehicle. And if you don't plan where that vehicle is taking you, well, you'll wake up one day broke, burnt out, and bitter. Because too many people in life, they end up selling their business and two things happen. Number one is that thing that they were doing all the time, it sort of becomes who they are. Very common in the baby boom era where they've been in business for over 50 years and it's just who they are. Their business is just a replica of them and who they are. And then once they sell that business, did you know, by the way, that the majority, I think it's 80% of business owners actually regret the fact that they sold their business, because they no longer have a purpose in life and they don't know what else to do. It's why it's so important to make sure that you plan in the beginning. The other issue that we're going to talk about now is they don't know exactly how much money they need. So for example, if you're making $1 million in your annual personal revenue from your business and you all of a sudden sell your business, if you don't plan correctly, you might actually be taking a pay cut. Because if you don't have enough wealth built up by the time you do exit and you want to get a steady stream of income coming in from your retirement, the selling of your business and everything else, you might actually be taking a pay cut. It happens all the time. And this is why it's so important to make sure that you plan ahead and you actually have a dollar amount figured out to make sure that you could ultimately live the same life after you exit as the same life you're living while you're exiting, except without having to run the business. And you'll also just wonder why decades of grinding didn't actually set you free. So there's a great book that I strongly recommend to any business owner even thinking about ultimately maybe one day selling their business. It's called Walking the Path to Destiny. It's by Christopher Snider, who is the owner of the Exit Planning Institute. And the story goes is that when he finally got an offer to sell, this is a business owner to him, got an offer to sell, he realized it wasn't enough to fund the lifestyle he wanted. Why? Because he never sat down to actually calculate his wealth goal. He never reverse engineered his exit. I talk about all the time, guys, whenever you are trying to scale, whenever you're trying to grow, even within, when you're trying to just set goals for the life of your dreams, you have to already visualize it with the end in mind. You should already see that big house and you should already see the money in your account and the life that you want to dream. Same thing goes for after you exit. You should already have an idea of exactly what that looks like. So, what did this business owner do? Well, he had to keep working. He had to keep working in the same business that he really hated and just wanted to get rid of for a lot longer because he had to build up the value of the actual business so that he could actually walk away from the business with the amount of money he needs to live the life that he wanted to. So as opposed to selling that business when he wanted to, he had to give it another 2, 3, 4 years or so to continuously increase the value of that business so that he could hit the wealth goal to make sure that after retirement and after selling the business, he wouldn't be left, broke. So that's why it's important to start early. So I'm going to teach you a little framework on exactly what you need to do and what you could implement today. I don't care if you've been in business for 30 years or 3 years. You could implement this today so you can get on that path towards increased in value of your business. So I'm going to teach you the 3-step exit planning framework that I teach all of my entrepreneurs and business owners that I talk to when we discuss making sure that you're planning correctly for when that time comes. Okay? So step 1 is define your wealth goal. All right, you need to sit down today and you need to write out exactly how much money you need to live the life that you want. Not just the life to get by. I'm talking about the house, the travel, the freedom, the investments, the legacy. Make sure that you map out your wealth number to the dollar. If you don't know what this number is, your exit is blind. Figure out exactly what it is that you want to do after you actually sell your business. Now, if this is something that you haven't even thought about because you're so wrapped up in your business and you're doing all of this day to day, that's why it's so beautiful to make sure that you're also working towards a business that's not so owner dependent. Once you start realizing all the things that you like to do, whether that's travel, hang out with your family and go to different things and whatever it is that you want to do, chances are when you no longer have the business, the transition is not going to be as hard because you've already sort of taken yourself away from that business. So you could start early, but if there are things that you want to do, if all you want to do is travel across the country in an RV, or you want to be in philanthropy and stuff like that, and you want to start really giving back to a bunch of communities, maybe it is that you want to start another business. Honestly, the best thing that you want to do is really develop sort of like a life plan, business plan on exactly what are some of the things that you have to do, and then put a dollar amount in it. That's how you define your wealth goal. You put a dollar amount towards how much money do you make now? How much money do you really want to make? So how much money you have to grow the business so you can make that much money? And if that's the dollar amount that you feel is really nice for you to live a nice life, well, you need to multiply that basically year by year by year, depending on how long you're going to be retired for and depending on what else it is that you are actually going to do. So step 1, for sure, take a look at the lead magnet, define your wealth goal. It'll take you step by step on how you can do that. Step 2, get a valuation of your business. Not yesterday, not tomorrow, today. You need to know right now what your business is actually worth. Here's something you probably didn't know. 80% of your net worth is in your business. That's right. So you have the amount of money that you're actually worth. 80% of that is actually in your business. Most people don't even look at their business as their personal net worth. They just look at it as a business and something that's making them money. So the business is probably not what you think it's worth. Okay, so make sure, because of the fact that it's so important to know the valuation and understand the fact that 80% of your worth is in your business, you need to pay for a proper valuation. Even if you're years away from selling, this number will likely slap you with some reality and give you a baseline to grow from, because a lot of people think that their business is actually worth a lot more than they actually think. When you get that proper valuation, it gives you the baseline and it gives you an understanding, okay, wow, if I were to sell this business right now, this is how much I would have. Is that enough money for me to live for the rest of my life? If that number is really low, then you know what you have to work towards. But once you know the valuation, it's going to be much easier for you to develop the actual, or to determine the actual wealth goal that you need so that you could ultimately sell that business and then get that money. You might even want to talk to some investment advisors as well to have a better understanding as to how much money you need to live a nice, carefree life. Step number 3. Okay, it's something that I call the wealth gap. You want to reverse engineer this gap. If your wealth goal is, say, $10 million and you are worth right now $2 million, that means there is an $8 million wealth gap that is actually trapped in your business right now. The next thing you do is you're going to get a valuation on that company. If the valuation of the company is, say, $1 million, that means you have to increase the value of your business $7 million. That's how it's calculated. So your job over the next 3 to 5 to maybe even 10 years is to now build the proper systems, build the team, make sure that you are cash flow positive, make sure that you have proper systems, processes, strategies, make sure that you have the human capital, the social capital. I'm going to go over the 4 C's as well so that you could ultimately increase the value of your business, because what you don't want, which I've explained in another video, is to actually end up selling the business for less than what you could have sold it if you would have properly strategized to increase the value of that business. You don't just grow a business, guys. You grow its value. It's all about putting a value on the business and growing that. And once you understand the wealth gap and the wealth goal and how much money you need to grow it, it becomes a lot easier and you can keep track of that goal as you continue to get towards your destiny. And that's it, guys. That's what we've got. Those are the 3 steps, okay? So step number 1, define your wealth goal. If you have trouble with step number 1, then you could skip to step number 2. Step number 2 is get a valuation today. I don't care, again, if you've been in business for 30 years or 3 years. You could wait a couple years. If you're just a startup and you're in your first year, you might not want to get your valuation. But once you hit the 2, 3, 4 year mark, you're going to want to get a valuation because that's going to be the baseline, right? That's going to be the understanding of, okay, this is how much my valuation is. Now, what is my net worth? Now, if you have any kind of investment advisor, you probably have some investments and you have different things. You should have a net worth that you have right now. You're going to want to calculate exactly how much you need to increase the valuation of that business. So like the example before, if you're looking for $10 million upon retirement and you're worth $1 million, you've got a $9 million wealth gap. If your business is worth $1 million right now, you've got $8 million to go so you can increase the value of that business. But that's why it's good to know right from the beginning so you could just have that target to go for. And every single quarter, you're going to implement the proper things and the proper strategies to continuously increase the value of that company. So that's it, basically. Step number 1 is define your wealth goal. Step number 2 is get a valuation so you could have a baseline. And then step number 3 is do that calculation. Now, the beauty is I've done all this work for you. If you go down to the description, there is a calculator. Basically, if you have no idea how to calculate your wealth goal, if all of this information that I just gave you just confused the shit out of you, and you want to try to figure out what that gap is, don't worry. I put together a free wealth goal and gap calculator. It's a worksheet just for you. Just go ahead and click on the link below. You're going to go ahead and download it. It's going to walk you step by step through calculating exactly how much money you really need, what your business is worth, and how big your wealth gap is so that you can build your exit plan with precision. So make sure, hit the description below, grab it in the description right now, and you can calculate that wealth gap rather easily. So that's what we got, guys. Quick recap is define exactly how much money you need to live the life that you want. Know the current value of your business, then reverse engineer the gap so that you can exit on your own terms and not by force. And also so that you can exit for top dollar amount. That's a whole other thing that we can talk about, but most businesses don't even sell. The ones that go on market, half of them don't sell. Why? Because they're not ready. And if they do sell, they don't sell for top value. You could start actually getting that process right now. I got some homework for you. Your homework is that by the end of today, I want you to download the wealth goal and gap calculator worksheet. I want you to write down your wealth goal. Not tomorrow, not next week, but today. Get your business valuated this quarter so that you know exactly where you stand and what it's going to take to build the exit that you deserve. Not only the exit, but just build the company that only dreams are made of, where it runs by itself and it just provides so much value. You could literally take that business and hand it to someone else for top value. So that's what we got, guys, today. Thank you so much for watching the show. Make sure that you download that gap calculator. Make sure that you hit subscribe, hit the like button. Follow me on all the social media channels. We're back every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with a new show here at Transcend Studio in Tampa. And if you are interested in being on the podcast, you could send me a message. And that's what we got, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys got something out of it. We'll see you next week. Peace out.